2 of our podcast about gyms reopening. In part 1, we looked at a gym operator's perspective. We were joined by JC, Managing Director of the IFBA, and had some great conversation about what to expect with the new gyms. In part 2, I'll be chatting to Hasit and Claire, and we'll be looking at a PT's perspective on this and how a PT may need to adapt their training strategies to work with the client under these circumstances. Enjoy. Let us know your thoughts. We've heard about what potentially might happen within the gyms when they reopen. So let's now have a look at the PT side of it. How can PTs adapt for their new clients or existing clients? So really looking for strategies for PTs to gain new clients. So you're in the gym, we've got a whole new kind of world within that gym environment now. How are we going to interact with potentially new people we've not spoken to before in a way that, you know, keeping our distance and things like that? Claire, what are your thoughts on that one?
So I think that it's important now more than ever for PTs to think outside of the box when it comes to recruiting new clients. I really liked what JC said about trust, and I think loyalty also comes in with that as well. So in terms of existing clients and keeping those clients, then communication is key, because they might feel insecurities about the situation and stresses about the situation. So if you're consistent with them in terms of building that loyalty and trust, I think that's paramount for sure. Yeah. I was having to think about new clients because with the social distancing and everything that's going to be in place, it is going to be a bit harder to engage with people. I think Hasit has said one time about that people may not be as plugged in anymore, whereas before that they would go to the gym, wear headphones, that's their time to switch off. During lockdown, when they're at home, that's what they're doing now more than ever.
They switch off.
Everybody's got extra time, yeah. So it might be that they see the gym as an opportunity to talk to more people. I don't know about you guys, but whenever like even the Amazon delivery man turns up at my door, it's like, oh, I've got a new friend, a new person that I can talk to.
It's time for you to socialise.
Hello, how are you? Yeah. Where do you live? You know. And I think that hopefully that will roll out into the gym, where it will become, people will be so desperate to talk to people. So it might not be as, I guess, awkward to go up and approach somebody. And plus, we've got this whole situation in common as well. So it's such an easy opening question to say, what have you been doing for exercise while the gyms have been closed? Is a really good opening question. I thought as well that now more than ever, referrals are important as well. And that's where the loyalty and trust comes in with your existing clients, and to communicate with them. And because that's your gateway to new people too, because they might have a friend or a family member who started exercising in lockdown that wants to continue. So referrals are really important. I thought as well that if PTs have got extra time on their hands, perhaps don't have as many clients, that now is an opportunity to perhaps write a blog or an article for a local magazine. I was thinking about ways that you can get your name out there as a PT outside of the gym. So start that blog, maybe go onto a social media site that you've not been on before. Perhaps you already do Instagram, so set up that Facebook page, set up that Twitter account, get your name out there more to target those new clients. Hasit, did you have any? Have you any? Actually, the only thing I thought of as well was maybe it might be difficult in terms of timings within the gym, but maybe just offer a free trial.
Yeah, for sure.
Clients, but you might be restricted because PT sessions will have to be a lot more spaced out because of the cleaning that you have to do.
100%, yeah. I think just adding on to kind of your points there, especially on the end of kind of social media channels and things like that in regards to gaining clients. I think, and again, I think we spoke about it with JC, with the better you are going sort of into lockdown, the better you're going to be post-lockdown in that sense. So if you've actually been proactive with trying to get content out there, trying to gain clients, offering, kind of home PT sessions or group X from home like you do, Nick, essentially, the better chance you're going to have and taking them clients through towards sort of face-to-face gym sessions. And then the things like the loyalty, the trust, all of that should already be pre-ingrained in that sense, because they've already been doing bits with you as a PT outside. So I think, social media channels and how you present yourself on there and what you're doing right now is going to be a massive part in how you gain clients post-lockdown, essentially.
And I don't know about you guys, but like I've set up social media that I didn't have before because I'm at home and I'm just desperate for communicate. I was never on Instagram really, but I've been interacting. So I imagine that's the same for everybody, that they're turning to social media more because we're that desperate for the connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with the social media as well, that's what people do, isn't it? They sit on their phone, they've got 5 minutes, we'll have a little scroll through and see what's about. So if you can kind of integrate yourself within their just normal life as such, seeing you, then brilliant. It's certainly going to work in your favour. I do also think that with social media, I'm always a sort of, some things I think are great on it, some things I really don't like. And to me, it always comes down to time. Now, at the moment, we've got the time, so we can implement that time, or some people have the time. We can implement that to increase your social media kind of output. But for me, it's always about what do you get in return? And are you actually seeing anything in return? So I think rather than just putting social media posts out there for the sake of
content,
take a lot of time, make it relevant, make it good, and really look at the quality of what you're putting rather than just the quantity. Now, quantity, I guess, is good because it makes you up on people's feeds, but at the same time, do you want to be on everybody's feeds who most of them aren't interested?
I think tying in with that as well, content's huge on social media at the moment. As with things like Instagram, typically people scroll through it, so looking for a lot of content to be on Instagram. No one's got really time to read a big post or big sort of caption on Instagram. It's kind of just like, right, let me see that, like it or dislike it or just go past it. So it's using the right platforms, the right content. If you want to put sort of studies out there and research and that sort of stuff, that's going to be a lot more relevant to Facebook, because people typically scroll a lot on Facebook because it's driven as a platform. So you've got to just weigh up what you're doing and where you're putting it, essentially. Content's a huge part.
Definitely.
Good.
And actually, another thing I've just thought about is your relationship with other PTs as well. I've always been a big believer of not seeing other PTs as competition, just seeing them as colleagues, as we're a team. And it just, in terms of referrals, there's clients that I've got that have been referred to me from other PTs because I'm kind of more suitable as a PT to that client. So I think the other PTs are a really great way as well as getting new clients. So perhaps spend some time rebuilding those relationships with other PTs, because it could be that you get a new client from them, as you could obviously send those to somebody that you've got that you think is more suitable to them on as well.
Yeah, good. I was thinking for myself, for additional people, in terms of making that contact, even things like PAR-Qs, getting them to fill those type of things out can be quite difficult. So again, as a PT, I think this is a great time to set up your procedures. It's very easy and cheap to set up your own website. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it could just be like a landing page with a PAR-Q that people submit. And that way, moving a lot of your paperwork documents more online, I think will just kind of reduce that contact. And again, it would just, if anything, it makes it easier. It makes it easier. Your client can do that at home. It can just ping up on their phone, bam, and off they go. So I think those sorts of procedures are a massive benefit as well.
Even things like just using platforms like Google Drive and stuff for uploading. Obviously, we've started implementing it to what we do in Teaching Elements. And why not do the same thing with clients potentially? So rather than talking about platforms like websites, Google Drive, you can edit the document as a PT, and your clients can view that straight away. Or you can, a lot of PTs walk around with iPads and things like that, and there's nothing again stopping them using these kind of documents on a system like Dropbox, Google Drive, where your client can directly access it.
Yeah.
Just having your own folder. So I think that's a really good way to kind of implement the sort of note taking essentially on a sort of digital platform essentially, rather than physically by paper or anything like that. And then this way your clients can see it from wherever they are, whenever they need to. Whether it's a program, whether it's a nutritional kind of plan, whether it's what they did last week, plan just on their Google Drive, they can access it.
Absolutely. And like you say, with the programs, great, isn't it? The amount of time that you sort of say, I'll send you what you did and things like that. You've got the hassle of doing it. You're just doing it there and then on your tablet.
Exactly.
Filling it out, you're making notes. Bam, as soon as they finish, they can access that straight away.
And they know what they've done. That's
so it's a really good,
Cool. It just looks super professional as well.
It does. It does, absolutely. And again, a bit of time there maybe to produce good quality documents that is gonna relate well to most people.
And from a PT perspective, it's making your life a lot more efficient, even more so. You're going to have a cloud of all your clients' documents in one place. And then B, you're not going to get clients asking you like, right, when are you sending me this? Or when are you sending me this? Or can I just have a look at what we did? Or have you got last week's nutrition? Or whatever, it's just right, here's your folder. Everything's in there. So it's making life for a PT that much easier as well, because it's backed up. It's accessible to yourself and the client whenever, wherever. So it can make your life a lot easier from a PT perspective as well.
Brilliant. Oh, good. Has either of you guys got anything else you want to kind of add on that in terms of interaction with new clients?
No, I think we've covered a fair amount in different varieties and compared to what kind of happens existingly. Yeah,
absolutely. Cool, perfect. Right then. Next point. So we want to look at now, we've looked at that interaction with clients potentially, or new clients. Let's have a look and think about the PT sessions themselves. We know that throughout this change is going to be different. We can't be all hands all over our clients and things like that. Distance-wise is going to be tricky and difficult in some cases. So how are we going to kind of deal with that, do we think? Let's put this one to you to start us off.
So in terms of this one, it's going to be, as with all of lockdown really, you've got your guidelines, but then it's people's perceptions of them guidelines. Essentially, that's going to be the differing sort of factor. Like you said, technically, sort of guiding clients into positions for or spotting people, that could be potentially a bit of a problem for clients if they want to have no contact essentially and keep a social distancing. So if that is your client essentially who does want to keep that distance and wants to keep hands off, that's fine, because that's following the guidelines in that sense. So then you'd have to look at things like, if you are spotting, potentially making sure you're spotting just from the equipment and not the body, making sure there's no contact on the actual client. So things like, let me use a bench press as a classic, touch that client. Obviously the sort of distance will obviously go in that sense, but in terms of contact, you can sort of just have contact with the equipment and nothing else, and then simply wipe that equipment down, which I think we spoke about before. That's just going to be a massive thing now, wiping after every single use, every person, every client, every PT. Other alternatives are actually not thinking about spotting altogether. If you want to keep it completely at a social distance level, is to think about ways you can incorporate similar sort of effects physiologically in the body without the load. So things like eccentric negative training, massive. Trying to, obviously things like force reps, you're not going to be able to do, but negatives is going to be a huge addition that people can use to get a similar sort of effect. From instead of having overall overload on mechanical load, you can have overload on eccentric load, which is still going to elicit similar sort of responses from the body. So it's just some other alternatives to think about. I think with stretching elements and things like that, simple demonstrations, keeping towels so they can actually do self-assisted stretches, using, as basic as it sounds, things like walls, to actually have a stretch against and use as a bit of a tool itself. So I think going to be a lot more incorporation of assisted kind of work that people can do themselves and then at a distance. Other practical changes I think are going to be the way people talk about exercises, because demonstrations need to be even more so sort of important, because you can't physically adjust that client into position essentially. So you're probably going to need to find yourself doing that much more demos, that much more detail in your demos, but trying to keep it simple so you're not wasting time in your session either, because I think there's a fine line where you see it all the time in assessments where they've spent 10 minutes doing a demonstration, and by that point your client's like, okay, when am I actually going to start? Or
they're just watching telly in the gym.
Yeah, exactly. So there's going to be that fine line as well where you just kind of hope you crack on. And I guess that's going to be more so with newer clients, because your older clients will probably have that movement pattern sorted by that point. So I guess it's only going to be applicable more so to the new clients. Demoing. Yeah.
I think keeping it simple. Sorry, Nick. I think keeping it simple really is key, because if you're trying anything complicated and then just not getting it, it's going to be so tempting to kind of get in there and help your client, which you normally would. And I think that's something that you really have to have at the forefront of your mind, because if you've demoed it a few times and they're still not getting it, there's only a certain point that you can get to without physically having that contact.
Touching them in the face. Come on.
Just get on with it.
Yeah. I think this gives a fantastic opportunity for that video analysis. There's a lot of video analysis apps, or even just using your phone to video your client and actually physically show them back what is it they're doing. A lot of those apps as well, enable you to draw kind of lines on the screen.
Like coach's eye and stuff.
So you can sort of say, there's your squat, that's what you're doing. This is the line we should be at. This is the line that you are at.
Wrong,
this is, what can we do to increase it? And I think
that's a brilliant idea, actually, because it adds a visual to it as well. Because it could be that people just don't hear instructions because they're learning a different way. I love that idea. And
going back to kind of what Hasit was saying about using something like those Google Drives and those type of kits, you could upload that video straight into there so they could refer it back. And then you can do a comparison, say 4 weeks later, to see hopefully what kind of progress they've got, mobility and things like that. Another great sort of tool that they can instantly use, and then even hopefully share that on their social media. And you an enhanced kind of look at.
Yeah, it's a communication piece as well as sort of improving your client's technique. And again, it adds to that professionalism that you were talking about, Claire. Imagine how professional that looks in terms of actually doing a video analysis on a level 3 sort of at a level 3 training, personal training level as well. That's sort of unheard of. That's the kind of stuff you start to do at sort of masters and level 4. Where you're actually doing video analysis of some of these movement patterns and biomechanics.
It's very simple.
I think it's important then before the session is to communicate to your client how that's going to work as well, so they know exactly what to expect and not to expect, and whether that's an email out to all clients or at the beginning of the session you say to them, look, this is what I'm going to do and this is what I'm not going to do because of social distancing, so they know exactly, so it's not weird for them in any way.
Do you know what, also, in terms of that analysis part, I wouldn't even advertise that as almost like a byproduct of social distancing. I'd say this is a new feature we're doing.
That's it. It's just adding into your existing sort of offering.
Exactly that. Because even after social distancing and all that, and you can grab your clients again, then we want to kind of be still using those things and still. I was
going to say you're setting yourself a huge professional standard completely. So it's massive. I think even with standards, just going back onto kind of protecting yourself and your clients, I guess and this just came to me now when I went to sort of the dentist the other day, where we had to sort of get our temperatures taken prior to actually entering the practice. And I think, I don't know whether gyms plan to do that sort of stuff. I don't know what their procedures are going to be like post-COVID, but getting a heat gun or a temperature gun is not expensive, and that could be just something else you do as a bit of a professionalism. But I guess the flip side of that, you could see your clients might be like, well, why is he or her checking that out, and it might essentially put them off as well. So it depends on how much you want to do to protect yourself and your client, and I guess the rest of the gym environment, because there's more to it than just you and your client.
What would your thoughts be? I saw someone the other day going, brilliant, I'm now back there with physio. They're back doing kind of physio and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they had big kind of face shields and things doing it. And again, going back to what we've spoken about before, is that kind of experience.
Yeah.
There's that difference between, we've got to make money.
Yeah.
We've got to get clients in, we've got to make money. But also, are we still given the best experience, for it as well? What are your thoughts on those sorts of things? Would you wear those in the gym? I
think not from a personal training point of view. Personally, I wouldn't. But from being a physio, if I had to do that sort of stuff, because typically physio rooms are a bit more smaller, closer contact.
Yeah.
So from a physio point of view, I might do, just to kind of ensure you're protecting yourself as best as you can. And don't forget, you typically, from a physio environment, probably see one after the other.
Yeah.
If you're a team physio, for example, one person goes out, another one straight in.
Yeah.
So you have to try sort of limit or protect yourself as much as you can from that.
Yeah.
From a PT world, probably not. From a PT world, probably not personally.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's worth almost emailing clients beforehand and saying, this is what I've got in place, I'm going to bring wipes, I'm going to bring towels, is there anything else that you would like me to add? And just ask the clients.
Yeah, 100%. I think that goes back again to what we were saying before about communication. Communication, communicate your procedures, communicate what it is that you're doing, and again, gaining that feedback from them, because it makes the client then feel like they're kind of involved, and I'm happy then with kind of continuing. I run boot camps myself, and I've made the decision not to start them yet, because to me a boot camp is all the sort of boot camps that I like to run are picking people up, carrying them around, running around, that type of thing. And I just feel like, yes, we could get people together as such, not close together, but get people together as such, and do a workout. But to me, that's not the product I want.
It's not what you want.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to say with this whole thing as well, from a PT perspective, from a gym perspective, even if you consider yourself whichever gym you go to, as soon as COVID's over, if you're taking that decision to go to a gym, you would have partially accepted there's going to be risks.
Absolutely.
And I think your clients will be exactly the same. If they're coming to you in a gym environment, in their head they've already thought, right, you know what, I'm good with whatever, because I'm happy to go into that environment knowing that COVID or this virus isn't completely clear. So I think that also plays a part. And I think a lot of clients, you probably find, if they're ready for personal training in the gym, they'll probably be fine with the contact and that side of things, because they've already, up to a certain extent, mentally accepted that side of things. As soon as you step foot into an environment like that, being one of the sort of, I guess, worst environments in terms of a hygiene perspective, in terms of exchange of bodily fluids and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that plays a big part as well. And I could probably say, if you ask a lot of your clients when they do come into PTO, you find with even contact, they'll probably say, yeah, I'm all right with it, no problem.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
It's you need to always ask that question, like you were saying, Claire, and get your client involved in that conversation from a professional standpoint. Not just go in and just assume that they're fine with contact. So yeah, it's definitely things we bring up beforehand. But I think personally, a lot of the clients that are ready to step foot in a gym have mentally accepted the fact that there is risk.
Absolutely. I think as well, if we're looking at sort of training clients in the gym, for me, one part of the gym that I'd probably avoid are the resistant machines, just because the time you then got to take to wipe everything down and things like that.
And all the different mechanisms involved as well.
Yeah, exactly. Eats into your session anyway. So personally for me, if I was planning a session, first thing I'd be thinking of is kind of imagination.
Yeah.
Try and keep things
as
interesting as possible, using a minimal equipment, but a variety in terms of, like maybe things like sledge and a battle rope. You can do so much with. That type of thing, so it's something a little bit different. I'd probably avoid those resistant machines a little bit to start with. So yeah, any other thoughts if you're thinking about planning a session, what you might consider?
I think you briefly touched on it there. Probably space, depending on what your gym's capable of and where you're located. Some gyms some people might be watching this and they might be working in private gyms, which are fairly small.
Yeah.
And in that sense, they'd probably have to reconsider the whole thing. If you're working in a quite big commercial gym like a David Lloyd or Nuffield or something where there is normally ample space to kind of do your own thing in a functional area or on a max area or whatever, then it's a whole different ballgame. So I think space is something that people need to consider.
Yeah.
And again, how comfortable your client is being in an environment where, you know, for example, where it is a bit more congested, then you might have a client that's not too sure about being in that environment too.
You'd wonder if gyms would limit the amount of people that they have at one time in order to ensure social distancing. But what they would have to do is consider PTs within that as well. Yeah.
I think that would definitely be a consideration for the gyms opening up again. It's the numbers, you know. So yeah.
It's so hard with gyms in that sense, and like even with a few conversations with friends and a few colleagues, like people were talking about potentially limited numbers that go in and out, and I'm like, realistically, you can't do that. You know, if somebody rocks up that they're coming to the gym to train, or if somebody wants to only use a certain piece of the kit, as a lot of people are quite, you know, stubborn with what they use.
Yeah.
And how can you say to that person who's maybe driven 15-20 minutes just to come to the gym, say, actually, you know what, you've got to wait half an hour for people to. I just don't think it would work in a realistic environment. I think as soon as gyms open, they've got it. Whoever turns up, they've just got to have the procedures in place to deal with it, because a lot of people will rock up, and a lot of people want to get straight in where they left off. Essentially, I think the gym's procedures, the PTs, the cleaning, all of them need to be pretty much in play to deal with that volume, rather than saying, actually, you know what, we're only going to limit it to 10 people in a free weights area at a time. People would just be like, what? You know, so just trying to think about it from a customer point of view.
Yeah.
Definitely.
If I went to my gym, it'd be the same thing. I'd be like, well, how are you not prepped for this? You know,
but again, I think looking at that, you know, if you do think of it from that customer point of view, the customer's going to make that decision.
Yeah.
If I went into a free weights area and it looked a bit busy and I thought,
exactly,
I won't go, I'll go and do something else.
I'll just wait a little bit.
I'll just wait. I won't go, I'll do something else. If I was in the mindset of, if it's busy, I don't know if I really want to go, then I probably wouldn't join that gym back up.
It's like when you go shopping in an aisle at the moment. You know, you want to get something that's in a particular aisle, but there's a hell of a lot of people in that aisle. You think, you know what, I'll just go do my other bits first, and then I'll go into that aisle. That's just common sense that you use, right?
Yeah.
What you hope, but yeah, sure.
Good. Cool. Excellent. I think that'll do us.
Yeah.
Good job. So
Perfect.
we covered there delivering PT sessions and also gaining some customers. So spot on. What more do we want?
Brilliant.
Okay, so that's the end of another podcast. We're racking them up now. Check back on the old ones if you haven't seen any yet. Thank you very much to Hassett and Claire for joining me on this one. Really good insight there as to what's going to happen within the gyms, what's going to happen when they reopen, and potentially what personal trainers are going to need to change when working with new clients. Hope you enjoyed it. Look back at some of our other videos and podcasts. Have a great week. Stay safe.